First, I would like to call Afia Salam Saiba. Like me, she's a geographer, and we think so much alike on many things. And she has had a 4-decade career in so many different areas, print, electronic, and web journalism and environment, in climate change. And currently, she sits on the coordinating body for marine protected areas and Prime Minister's advisory body and Pakistan Climate Change Council. She has worked with, associated with many organizations, IUCN, Indus Trust, Bahambeli, and our own Hisar Foundation. And she serves currently on the executive committee, the vice chairperson of Salman Sufi Foundation Board of Trustees as well. So welcome, Afia. Afia never minces words, so over to you to question her.
Welcome, Afia.
Thank you.
Do try to mince, swallow the words, because we are dear colleagues in Bahambeli. She is our elected General Secretary and a very difficult woman to manage, I tell you. No, woman is not said in a gender-biased way. She just happens to be a charming woman, but a difficult woman to work with, but a challenge to work with and a privilege to be associated with.
Thank you for your
And now you have vast experience of working with marginalized communities. And Afia Sahiba, we'd like you to respond with specific reference to children and women in marginalized communities, the impact of severe water shortages and excess water. And then how does this impact, you think, on their own individual future plans and any efforts being made for a better future? Thank you.
So thank you, the honorable commission members, and thank you for the other kind of, like we say, Bakri type of introduction which Javed Jabbar Sahab has given for me. So I will actually take a cue from what Senator Moshahid said as Rafi Alam was leaving after his presentation, and he says, okay, so it's a man-made problem. And without playing the Aurat card here, I will say that most of the problems that have been cited here are man-made problems. And so you see, this is actually what I wanted to highlight, that the water sector has been overwhelmed by men, and especially men who give these engineering solutions to water problems. And this is why what Dr. Yasmin said, that there has been this blind spot about the social impact of water issues on children, on women, and there are all, I mean, it's not just that we are a very structured society, not in a very good way, so it's the poor versus the, the elite. You just heard about what Dr. Noman said. It's a very clear sign of elite capture in my city as well. So what I wanted to present to you was, as one of the solutions, that the blind spot needs to be highlighted, and it has taken, in this Karachi Water Conference, the 7th Karachi Water Conference, a woman-led organization to bring it forward, bring another woman leader of the health sector to show us this nexus and present to you that why the half, slightly less than half, we are 48%, we are not half of the country, 48.3 I think. That also is actually a bad indicator, especially when the aspirations of having 4 wives. So I mean, what will the poor other leftover men do? So, but, I'll cut the humor here, because there is no humor in not including almost half of your country in solutions. And I would like to present to the Commission some documents, a snapshot to show that when women are offered,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
can we just go back? Don't just run it. Yeah. So this prompted me to find out, people like Simi, I know other women who work in this space, and why is it that we are only getting these engineering solutions? You have a problem, build a dam. You have another problem, build barrages, canal bana do. You have, those are all brick and mortar solutions, which are actually leading to some social, political, economic fallout, the negative fallout of these. So they can't really be called, the one-size-fits-all solution for our water problems. And this article, when I wrote and I sent it to the editor, I got a call from her that I asked you to write an article, not start a telephone directory. I said, well, can you please publish it? These are only 2 pages here that we are displaying over. The article was, I think, 4 pages. It has these thumbnails of women. This was printed in 2018. After that, obviously the number has grown. I have visited universities. I visited Mehran University. I've visited so many other universities where they have a lot of women faculty. They have a lot of women students over there in the water sector. So that means that the solutions which women usually bring to the table, which are generally more nuanced than very, linear, are not being sought after. So this is also something we need to look at. Women are known as nurturers, so they will not only be looking for benefit of a certain class, they will probably also not only be looking at human, they are closer to nature. This world wasn't made only for humans. I'm sure Hamad will be able to talk more about it later, or the other species that inhabit this earth, and how the degradation of our water resources are impacting them. Next page, please. So then we come to Sindh. And I know this is a topic for my other panel in detail where I will talk about it. We saw a picture when the Sindh water policy was being formulated. It was tweeted with great, the Sindh water policy dialogue is happening. There was not a single woman present in that room. And there is a clear water and women nexus that has been established. It's not just the cities or universities. When you just go to the rural areas, women are the one who fetch water, who manage water, who bear, with the violence if that water does not satisfy the needs of the whole household. So that women water nexus was there. And I know I called up Simi, we wrote about it, we protested the exclusion of women from that Sindh water dialogue, and Hisar then started this campaign. These are from that article, and by now, of course, there were a lot more, so they looked up the women specific to Sindh. But this is just specific to Sindh. We had this entire campaign, and it is all online, and I would urge you people to go and look at it. Next page, please. And where it has been recognized that women can be part of the solution, Javed Saab, I'm sure you know this, the Akram Ba success story, which I think SPO was also a part of it. That's okay. I just want to sort of establish the fact that women need to be a part of the solutions. And here, in this, after this historic legislation, women have been managing this. Va is a canal, it's a water course, from which all the other adjoining lands receive their water according to a certain schedule which is agreed upon. The women have been managing their schedule. Who will get how much water? When will they get that water? So this is a clear success story that you don't, just give those intangible, soft kind of tasks to women. They are up to doing on-ground, difficult work, and they can and they must be a part of the water solutions everywhere. And the other women, another woman-led organization, which Nadra Panjwani is another example. We are having a state-of-the-art water institute, which was also thought of by the women. She's putting it up. So women use, I think the commission, I would urge the commission in its recommendations to make it a point that not to fall into that blind spot. The planners, the policy makers, the implementers, they have to listen, like the youth had made its, anger and anguish. So there is this half of humanity inhabiting this country, which also feels very anguished that we have a different take on these issues, and allow us, hear us, and take us on board in solutions. Thank you very much.